You are now listening to the Do It Movement podcast, where we share our experiences in real estate investing and encourage you to take action. You don't want to miss what we have in store today, so let's welcome our host, Martine Richardson, and our co-host, Eubanks.
What's up today, Do It Movement listeners? This is your host, Martine Richardson, your buy and hold coach, and my co-host, Lori Eubanks. How are you doing today, Lori?
Hey girl, hey, I'm doing great. It's a great Friday in the real estate world.
I am doing amazing as well. I'm feeling great. I'm excited about this topic we're going to talk about today. I want to title this episode, How to Get the Money. And for those of you guys who are listening, if you follow me, if you follow Lori, a lot of the deals that we get into, for me, I can't speak for Lori here, but for me, it almost 100% are $0 down out of our pockets. And we are buying and keeping, or buying and flipping in your case sometimes. And a lot of people are like, how are you able to buy properties and not use your money to buy them? Like, how are you doing that? So let's start with that discussion. And I guess, what does that look like?
Yeah, so whenever I'm buying, the first thing, of course, you want to make sure you got a good deal, because if you have a good deal, you can find money anywhere, right? So
Yes.
I'm always just analyzing and making sure I'm going to be 70% loan to value all in. And if you're using that formula, or, 70% or under, you should be able to find financing, because, that's a winner. So whether it's a flip, rental, anything like that, the first thing is, analyze the deal.
Yeah, the reason that I'm also 70% in, and the reason that we always emphasize being 70% in, is because it's a relatively safe position for a lender. Like, if they had to take this property back, I like to always look at the risk factor, not just the great upside of things, but also what's the risk that this lender is going to have in the deal, especially because you talk to a lot of lenders and they're like, I want you to have some skin in the game. And they're like, well, why are you able to get these properties and you're not putting any skin in the game? So, for those that are wondering what skin in the game is, usually people want you to put money down. But when I like to look at it from this perspective, if you're all in 70%, and when we say all in, that's buying it, that's rehabbing it. And I like to, if I can get the holding costs in there, if I can get the closing costs in there, woo-wee, we got a smoking hot deal, because at the end of the day, the more I don't use my own money to buy properties, the more properties I can buy. Me using my own money is a limiting constraint, because eventually I will run out if I keep just using all of my money. But if I'm networking and I'm building a network of people that want to lend me money because they know I know what I'm doing, and I'm looking out for their best interest because I'm putting their money in 70%, then I can do as many deals as I can handle. Or if I want to build a big team, I can do as many deals as I want. So the 70% really comes in with just making sure that your lender is in a safe position. When I talk about risk factor, what I'm saying is, to make this a full circle moment, is that you want, in the worst case scenario, you don't do what you say you're going to do, and that lender has to foreclose. You want the lender to make more money taking the property back, because this is a headache, this is a hassle. You don't want to do it, but at least I'm going to make more money. So you just want to make sure that the risk that they're like, essentially it's not as much risk, because if I do what I say I'm going to do, you know what you're going to get. And if I don't do it, then my hope is that you would make more. But of course, I want to do what I'm going to say I'm going to do. So
Yeah. And then you brought up a great point. If you're 70%, and let's say, the investor, the borrower needs to do a backup option on refinancing versus flipping it, that makes the lender feel better, because a lot of times now they can just refi out that lender at 70% loan or 75 to 80% loan to value
Right.
with the bank. And so then you're able to also pull money potentially on the refinance. So I know you love that method. And it's
You
been
know
really
it.
good to me. Yes, yes. And it's like a now and later, you're getting money when you buy, you're getting money when you refi. And put that money aside, definitely hold some money for reserves, because if you're doing a rental, eventually you will need that money to make a repair. So, but it's a great way to grow. And I know we've both utilized that method.
I love it. So let's talk about, okay, we talked about you have to analyze the deal. We're saying make sure people's money in is at 70% or less so they're in a safe position. But how do we get the money? Let's talk about how do we get the money, because people are like, who are these rich people that you know that are just giving you money to buy properties? And I think this is just going to be a great conversation, and I hope that it opens you guys' mind when you listen to what we have to say, because you can teach people how to lend to you. It's so many different ways that you can do this. So let's just discuss some of the ways. Let's talk about some of the ways that you've done it, Lori.
Yeah, so it's so amazing when you start sharing what you're doing, with your friends, your family, your bankers, your attorneys, your CPAs, because all of them are professionals. They may have retirement 401ks that they can invest. They might have, IRAs, just a lot of different things. And so really just the first step is start sharing what you're doing, because the best advice I was given was that you don't want to ask, for help. You want to ask for advice. So if you're calling friends, sharing what you're doing, and then saying, do you know anyone that might want to invest with me and make a good return? Start the conversation. They may not be interested right away, but when they see what you're doing after a while, it's just a really great way to start building your private lenders. So when you do have a deal, you're able to share it with, here's the comps, what our plans are, and showing them that it's a safe investment. So it's just been an organic thing. And then now, when you have a deal, you could send it to multiple people, but now, it just takes one.
I know. I know. And like, so you bring up a good point about sharing what you're doing. To be honest, guys, if you are trying to be quiet about what you're doing yourself and other people a disservice. And I say this because a lot of people, I mean, I could probably go into almost any room and there will be at least one person that is interested in investing in real estate. But the breakdown is they don't really know how. Like they don't know how they can get in the game. But everyone knows this is no secret that real estate appreciates.
Yeah.
It's no secret that you can make a lot of money doing real estate, but it's just that a lot of people don't know the how. They don't know how to do it. So by you sharing what you're doing, eventually over time, you'll start attracting people that want to start doing deals with you. And I just want to share like a success story right now. This is one of my students,
Yes.
because you guys know I'm a buy and hold coach. And one of my students, she wanted to reach out to her circle of people and just to see who would be interested in doing, like getting into some deals with her and raising money, so to speak. So basically she taught them the process. She learned what the process looks like, and she taught them the process of what it would look like if you invested some of your money with me, what the returns would be, how we structure that, all the good stuff. And it was great. Like I was just, like a fly on the wall sort of thing. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And after just having one conversation, guys, one conversation, she was able to get a commitment for $50,000 to put into her
Wow.
deal. And that's amazing. She
Wow.
never knew that these people would even be interested in investing with her, but she started sharing what she was doing. She showed how they could be protected. How, like, when you really learn this process, you can really help other people's dreams come true by investing in your deals. And I think when you start looking at it like this, instead of looking at it like, I don't want to ask for money, like it doesn't really feel good for asking for money, when the reality is these people wouldn't be able to get these types of returns if you didn't know how to find great real estate deals, and you didn't know how to fix these places up and stabilize them and put them where they needed to be. So you're actually doing a disservice if you're not sharing what you're doing, because so many people want to get in the game, they just don't know how. So I think that's just a great point that you bring up, Lori, about sharing, because eventually, like you said, people are going to see what you're doing and they're going to want to be in. One thing I've noticed is that, like, I'll network. Like, my first couple of lenders were for me networking. I would just go to different events, different meetups. I'd go to just different places where I can meet different people, just to be honest with you. And some people, they said they were lenders. I would send them deals and they wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But then I would send them another deal and they probably wouldn't want to do that one. And then I would send them another and then another and then another. And they're like, oh man, she's not playing. She's crushing it. She got all these deals. She has all this activity. I want to get in on this. And then eventually you get to a point where, especially where you're sharing what you've been doing. So like you sent them a deal, right? This is, I don't know what you would call this, but it has to be one of the best feelings when you send out a deal to someone and they told you no, and then later on you see them and they ask you about that deal and you're like, oh yeah, I'm done. I got the money and I fixed it up and it's already like stabilized, it's cash flowing. I pulled out $50,000. It's like, yeah, I would like you to be a part of this, but I'm not relying on you to make my dreams come true. What I'm getting at is just stay the course, especially like I like to always talk to the people that are doing the wholesaling or the realtors that are doing like the cold calling type things, because if you've been in those types of environments, you're already used to people rejecting you. So like if you're reaching out to a lender, so to speak, and let's say you reach out to 5 different lenders and all of them tell you no. Well, 5 no's doesn't really hurt that much when I used to hear 1,000 no's a day.
Yeah.
Because I was cold calling. So just know that what you're doing right now is prepping you for the next step.
I love what you said about your mindset. And, I remember that feeling when I thought, like, who's going to loan me money? And now it's like realizing, okay, actually, I have an opportunity and people need us. We're helping them retire on a different potential versus them putting it in the stock market or them being scared of what to do with the money. So, when you have an opportunity, you really are helping them in their transition most of the time. So, start realizing you're helping people and you'll find more money.
For sure. And if you're a big relationship person, if you're not raising money right now, I want to encourage you to start doing it. I want to encourage you to start talking to people about your deals and how they can make great returns and all of that great stuff, because people want to be involved. Mm-hmm. They want to be involved, but they just need the opening. And like Lori says, you don't have to straight up ask people, hey, you want to lend me $110,000? No. You can say, who do you know? Or you can say, well, I have a deal, it's 110, the lender's going to make this amount of money. And a lot of people say, well, how can I get in on that? Let them self-select. Yeah. That works so well, letting people self-select and saying, hey, I want a loan. Like, I remember, I'm going to go way back when I first learned how to keep properties, right? When I first learned how to keep properties, I remember the first private lender that lent me money. And basically, I had a duplex and I wanted to keep it. At the time, I think I was just wholesaling because I didn't know how to keep properties. But I heard that people would lend you money. So I was like, let me find these people that would lend me money.
Who are these people?
Yeah, who are these people? So I remember I was just talking about my deal, and I was like, I got this duplex. It's an amazing deal. I can make this much cash flow. I'm looking for this amount of money, and the person that lends it to me can get this amount on their money. And I don't even think I was talking to this person directly, but they came up to me and they said, "I lend you the money," and I'm like, really? I
You're
don't know if I
shocked,
said,
like.
I didn't know if I said that out loud or not. But I was like, really? I was like, this is real.
That's awesome. So when you were shocked, and how did you respond to him?
I said, well, I can send you the details. Make sure that it'll be. You got to hold your cool, right? You can't put all your cards on the table here. I was like, well, I'll send you the details. Make sure everything looks good to you, and let's draw it up. Let's make it happen. And they're like, okay, sounds good. I sent over everything, and then we made it happen. And I was so excited. When you get to one thing that you said, Lori, that I want to point out is that you mentioned that I think you said something about like you're helping these people, something like that. But when you were saying that, the first thing that came to mind is that you believe that you are a service or that you can help people by them lending you money in your deals. Because if they didn't know you, they wouldn't be able to make these types of returns. And I think that's a big, like, it was kind of small and you kind of talked about it briefly and like just glanced over it a little bit. But I think that's a huge, because that's a mindset that you have.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe that, man, I'm begging people for money and like, who's going to want to lend me money and that type of stuff, then that's what you're going to attract. So people aren't going to be like willing. But if you believe that you're truly adding a service to someone by them investing in your deals, then that allows you to come into the space. And I mean, as an authority, because it's not a ton of people that have your skill set. And when I say it's not a ton, because you might say, oh man, it's a lot of people that do real estate or whatever. But what differentiates you is, one, the mindset. But also, what is differentiating you is that you know what you're offering, and you're a person of integrity, and you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. Because like a lot of people, you'll see they're doing real estate, and I don't know, like sometimes I feel like I'm a little too healed because because some people I'm like, oh, I saw that, I'm not interested. They don't seem like they do what they say they're gonna do. I don't want to work with people like that. So if you're like a person that, your word means everything, and you want to make sure you keep those relationships with people, you really can help so many people. Who doesn't want to make passive income? That's what a lender is. Who doesn't want to do that?
That's right. And you brought up something good about, being able to just be real with people. So real estate is not always going to go as planned. So, when you have that lender in the deal, maybe it doesn't sell as quick as it was going to, or the renovation doesn't happen quick enough, or, there's always curveballs. Maybe the house burns down, while you're renovating it. That happened this year. In that case, you want to be able to share and be open, in all cases. As long as you cover yourself, there's always like 5 exit strategies, right? But you got to know who to call, who to get advice from. And one thing, that you should be open with your lender. Let them know you got it. You have people helping you. When it burned down, I called my lender and I had to let her know, you're going to expect a check from my insurance company. And, we made sure that she was covered. And guess what? When she got the money back from insurance, she reloaned it out to me to finish the project again. She made, more money. So, I think if you're honest and open about what you're experiencing, the lender's also going to, respect you more. Like, wow, yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad I'm not doing that. They're making money on the deal without going through all the BS.
Right.
Yeah, right. Transparency.
Because because the way that you should structure your deals is that you want to make sure your lenders are taken care of. So like in that example she just gave about a house burning down, the way that her lender was taken care of, she had insurance on the property. So if something like that were to happen while you're doing it, your lender's still taken care of. And when lenders know that you have their best interests at heart, you want to make sure that they're made whole. Like, if we're being honest here, when we're doing these real estate deals, we should be the ones taking the risk, not the lender. So if a deal doesn't perform or doesn't go the way that we want it to go, then the lender shouldn't be taking the loss. We should be taking the loss. And if you're a person that's like that, I want to make sure all my people are whole that work with me. You're going to have a lot more people to work with you because they're like, well, what's the risk really? Like, I know I'm going to get my money back. This girl, she does what she says she's gonna do, and if things happen, she's protected me to make sure that I'm able to be made whole. So I'm gonna get my money back because you know we've heard the horror stories of people not getting paid back, and we don't want that associated with our reputation. So you have to make sure that you are really taking care of that relationship and making sure that whoever is working with you is doing, you know, getting made whole. They're able to, I mean, at bare minimum, get their money back, but I like to give them their money back plus the return that I promised them. So, and that's all on your note and your deed of trust if you're in Virginia. But
I agree. Integrity is everything.
For sure. And you can tell who has it and who doesn't.
That's right.
Just follow the signs. Follow the signs. If somebody's telling you something small and they can't do it, then maybe you should move on. But let's talk about getting the money. Like, let's say this is Lori when she first started out. How did Lori get the money?
Yeah, it was pretty scary. So, I mean, everyone said go out and, you know, I was just offering half off. So I really didn't know what I was doing. And so to ask people for money when you're just starting, you feel like such an imposter, right? Like, who's going to lend me money when I have no experience? So, you know, the first thing is the deal, right? I found a really good deal. I think it was probably, I got to do the math. I think it was probably like 40% loan to value.
Wow.
I mean, it was ridiculous. Of course, I made a ton of mistakes, but it was a solid deal. And so the first thing I did was I sent it out to family and friends. I wasn't sure, you know, if a hard money lender would loan to me, but I knew if they did, they were going to need a down payment that I did not have. So I felt like the friends and family was the safer bet. So I pulled together my comps and I pulled together the budget, you know, which by the way, I was like out, you know, I was over budget in there, but you know, guess what? We were able to restructure and make it happen. But that's all it took was showing what the plan was, that it was a solid deal. And then it was like, okay, well, now what? And I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about the paperwork. So now let me get the attorney involved and they can help with the note and the deed of trust. So if you don't understand everything about that step, it's okay. No one really does when they do their first deal. There are things you need to learn, but you need to work with a really good attorney. And one that works with investors is usually, you know, a safe bet because they're experienced with notes and deed of trust for private money. So ask around in your circle and start building those relationships.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You said so you had a deal and your deal attracted the money. I love it.
It's it.
I love it. So I know like back when I was first starting, something that really helped me be able to get lenders was I used to just go to a lot of the meetups here. And you'll have people stand up and they'll say, hey, I'm a lender. And a lot of times the people that are standing up saying I'm a lender, they're usually a hard money lender. So let's talk about the difference. A hard money lender is like someone they have like I call it rules and procedures. Like they want you to put a certain amount down. This is the interest rate. Like it's not negotiable. This is what it is. This is how long the term of the loan is. They sometimes want you to do an appraisal. Sometimes they want you to do draws. Like it's very like clear and defined. And it's okay okay if you have to use them. But what I prefer is I prefer to use private lenders. And private lenders are just a lot more flexible. A lot of the times they're using their own money to do deals, or they're using money of people that they know. So like them and a friend will partner up and they'll lend you the money. Usually in terms of rate, they'll say they want one thing, but it's negotiable. Let's put it like that. It's negotiable. You can negotiate a different rate. You can negotiate different terms and like how long you want it to be, if you're going to make payments or if you're not going to make payments every single month. And the private lender, the biggest difference between a private lender and a hard money lender is the relationship. Usually a private lender is not going to lend you money unless they have a relationship with you. If you don't have that's why like every time I'm on Facebook, if I see someone say, hey, I'm looking for a private lender, who can you send me? I'm like, this is not how it works.
They're not real private lenders.
This is not how it works.
Wait, did I send you that message?
But what I'm saying is really go to these different meetings, and they don't even have to be real estate meetings. You can just go to meetings of things that you're actually just interested in doing. You pretty much just form relationships with people and share what you're doing. And then a lot of people self-select saying that they are interested in like lending or doing that. And in my opinion, here's the gold nugget time, guys. I need you to put your pencils up. What is this? Is this the classroom? Put your pens up and write this.
Golden session.
How about this? It's 2024, 2025. How about we get AI to record the notes for the podcast?
That's right.
But so the best way, and if you follow us, you know this already, but the best way to develop a relationship with someone is to take them to lunch. Eat and talk. Eat and talk. It's something about when people are eating, they get all happy and they like you, and especially if you're listening. But yeah, start being intentional with developing relationships with people. Try to, take them to lunch. Really get to know them. Seeing if this is a person you actually want to do business with. Because, a lot of people, they'll say they'll lend you money, but you may not be interested. You don't have to do business with everyone. You can, when you're on this journey, you can do business with whoever you want to do. So I want to encourage you to go out to some of these meetings and get 5 cards. And just reach out to them and see, can you take them to coffee or to lunch and really get to know the person? Like truly, genuinely try to get to know them. See like if you guys have any similarities. Something I didn't know, and this is like a sidebar kind of, but something I didn't know is that I tend to align really great with people that like the same football team as me. Like we do great business together, and like we always get back talking about our favorite football team. So I'm saying is I would never have known that if I didn't like intentionally try to develop relationships with these people. So I just try to get to know them more, let them know what you're doing, what you got going on. Also let them know like about what you're looking for. And also I think the biggest thing is making sure that you try to add some value to people. Don't go into like these meetings saying, let me pick your brain. I hate that. I hate when someone messages me and says, let me pick your brain. I'm like not interested anymore. So I think when you're setting up these meetings, because you're probably thinking, I'm new, why would these people even want to meet with me? Well, one, they were at a networking meeting, so they want to network. Like they want to network. And then two, if you come into it and you're saying, well, how can I add some value to you? What are you looking for? How can I help you? And then what I've noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed this too, Lori, is that a lot of people are taken aback when you ask that question and you truly mean it. Like you're not just asking it to ask, you truly want to help. Because a lot of people in this world, they don't really care about helping unless they're just helping themselves. They want to, they just want to serve their self-interest instead of trying to help someone else get to the next level. And I have a personal belief that we are all here to help each other. So if you come into a meeting that you're trying to set and plan with someone and you say, well, I'm trying to see how I can help what you're doing. You know, how can I add value to you? I want to find out more about you. More than likely, you'll find that most people will sit down and talk to you because it's not a let me pick your brain. I want to know everything you know. Come to lunch with me.
Yeah.
And that's I know I'm personally not interested in that. If you come to me and say, hey, let's go to lunch and I'm gonna pick your brain and tell me everything you know, I'm probably gonna leave you on red. Just
Yeah.
letting you
It
know.
sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I couldn't agree more, and you build such a stronger relationship when you do want to give and,
Mhm.
you want to match that same energy. And so that's something that we both recognized when we first met. We were like, how can we help each other
Right.
and share? So that's so important. We're all here to learn from each other. Everyone's
Mhm.
making different mistakes at the
Mhm.
same time. So
Right.
how much stronger are we?
Right. I definitely agree with that. So I want to ask you, because I have a story I'd like to share, but what's a story, I guess, that is memorable for you that involved either
Yeah.
you lending money or you
Hmm.
getting money for a deal that you
Yes.
think would be beneficial for people
Hmm.
to hear?
Okay, yes, I have one perfect for this. So I just want to share, people are interviewing you on if they want to lend you money, but you should also be interviewing them to see if you want to work with
Mm.
them because all lenders are so different. So asking questions like, how often do you, want an email or an update or, how do you like to communicate and how's your risk level? Because I can tell you a lot of different situations that I just didn't see coming. But if I had just spent time with the lender and understood, like maybe this is all their savings, and if something happens, they might need that money quickly, or there's just a lot of situations. So I had one deal that I was working with a lender I had never worked with. They had done many deals with other people, but I could tell that they were a little nervous about it. So, week of closing, they share that actually a different deal came up and they were going to make more money on the other deal. And I was just like, what? What do you mean? Like, we're closing like in 2 days. Like, it was shocking for me because I thought they were solid. They were a little, more questions at the beginning. But if I had really dug deeper, I could probably have figured out like maybe this wasn't the right deal because maybe they were uncomfortable about the rehab or whatnot. And I would have just found someone different. But they kind of left me at the altar. And what they said was, well, maybe this is a sign that you shouldn't do the deal.
What?
And yes. And so then I was like, oh, no, like it matched everything, the formula, like the numbers were good, and so um, I found somebody else very quickly to do the deal with me, but it was the stress and then the worry, like you want to perform on time and, things just don't, happen sometimes. But if I had just spent time interviewing that person, I would have known. And so, a year later, I saw that investor, that lender at a networking event, and he asked me how the deal went. And I was like, oh man, like, I mean, we made over six figures on that deal, so it
I
did
love
feel
it.
good. Yeah, it did feel good, but it was just an interesting time because, to feel like they were going to go with somebody else just right off, to make more money, it didn't feel good. So not all lenders are the same, but you just want to spend time and really get to understand, what are they looking for and are they solid? And go from there.
So, question about that one. Did you guys sign a loan commitment?
We did not. So that was another thing. There was no loan commitment signed. It was just an email with these are my terms.
I got you.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, if anybody else finds themselves in that position, once someone acts like that, you probably just don't want to do business with them anyway.
Yeah.
But if you want to hold some feet to the fire, then probably, like, if you guys had, like, a formal loan commitment, it could have made them close.
Yeah.
I mean, but after going through that, you probably don't even want to work with them. Like, they're probably just going to be a pain in the ass, to be honest. So,
and you never want to force anyone to do business with you. As you know, I was just feeling like if it's not meant to be, it's lesson learned and move on, but you're right. Like you would never want to rely on them because you never want to be put in the position of being left at the altar. Like that's the worst feeling for all involved. And you may tarnish that relationship with the wholesaler. You might lose the deal, your earnest money deposit. There's a lot involved.
Right. Well, that's a good one. So I have a story I want to share too. I remember when I was doing a deal and I was raising $360,000 to do a deal. And at the time, that was the most I had ever raised for a property. So I was reaching out to my normal people to try to get it funded. And like, I don't know, like, it seems like everyone was so scary. Like they're like, "Oh my God, $360,000! Like that's a lot of money." So I'm sharing this story because I want you to be solution oriented. There's always a solution for every problem that arises, and if you want something bad enough, you make it happen. And point blank, period. Ain't no excuses. It's only make it happen or excuses. So you choose which one you want. So I remember reaching out to a couple of people, and after like talking to people, a lot of them just said they didn't have enough. And I think some of them did have enough. They just were afraid to put that amount in.
Yeah.
So I would say, well, how much do you have? And I pieced my lenders together. So I needed 360, and I think I ended up borrowing money from 7 people to put that 360 together. And I put it together, and I made sure that everyone knew each other. I think that's a big deal when putting multiple people together. Everyone knew each other, and then also we made someone, like, I guess you could say, the chairman. That's like the point of contact, so I don't have to call 7 people every single time. We made someone that was kind of like the point of contact that everyone felt comfortable with. So at the time, it was a little stressful because I'm like, man, I really want to get this deal done. I want to also emphasize this. I actually was buying this deal from a wholesaler, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, all my lenders are telling me that they don't have enough money. I had a really good relationship with this wholesaler. And he's like, "Oh, I believe in you. You'll get it done." And I was like, wow, everyone just has so much belief in me. And so it just made me like, okay, let me go back to the drawing board. How can I make it work? And then I was like, okay, well, when I started piecing people together, okay, I got 100, I got 25, I got 15, I got this, right? I was like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this, we're going to put you all in a trust, and we're going to make one person the trustee, and that's my point of contact, and you all get first position on this. And just for people that are listening, first position is just, that's the safest position for a lender. And everybody was with it. They were happy, especially the people that had the smaller amounts, because they wanted to be in deals. And it's hard for them to get in a deal because everybody's buying houses for $150,000, $200,000, and they got $20,000, and they're like, "Where? How am I going to be able to use this money?" Share that story because sometimes, I'm not gonna say a lot of the times, but sometimes you may get into a deal, like you have it under contract, and you are reaching out to the lenders you already have relationships with, and maybe they don't have enough money, maybe they're too afraid to put all that money into a deal. What I've noticed is that you can kind of bring you can increase people's comfort level when they have other people doing it with them, and especially other people that they know. So if they don't know them, try to see if you can get them to know each other. I don't know if you have that amount of time, but it just made them feel more comfortable. It made it less scary. It's like we're all in this together. And essentially we got the deal done and it was amazing.
I
It was
love
amazing.
that. So how long,
So
when did you switch your focus on that deal? Did you give yourself a certain amount of time to try to find the full amount first, and then you started piecing people together, or did you just keep an open mind while you were looking?
well, I was looking for the full amount first because if I'm honest, I would prefer to work with one person.
Right.
But it was taking forever. And when I say forever, it was like 3 days.
Yeah. I've been there.
Days. I was like, in 3 days, I usually have it by now. So I was like, okay. The one thing I heard on something else was that the goal is the same, even if the plan has to change. So my plan had to change in terms of getting that money. So I said, okay, well, the goal is still the same to get the house. So how can I get the house?
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe if the people that told me they didn't have enough, maybe I could just find out how much they have and put them together. I started doing that on day 4. So 3 days is the kind of, like, if you have really solid relationships with people, it kind of doesn't take that long for you to get the money. If I'm honest with you, it's easier to keep properties than to even sell them, like, to someone else. Because you just go get the money, and like if you already have the relationships with the people and they have it, okay, you're good. That's why I'm always encouraging people to keep it and buy it and hold it. But yeah, so we need to wrap this up because we're getting to our time limit here. But I want to ask Lori, do you have one last thing that you would like to share with people before we talk about your contact info? I didn't want you to miss out on anything.
No, I just believe in yourself and you can do it. You will find the money. Buy good deals. You'll always have the money.
Yeah, I think when you really know like what this looks like, how to structure good deals, how to structure the money on it so people are safe, you are really doing a service to yourself and others because you're allowing yourself to get wealthy, build your passive income, your financial freedom, all that great stuff, while helping other people make a great passive return on their money. So it's a super win-win-win. But Lori, if people want to get in contact with you, what is the best way to get in contact with you?
I'm in all the social media, out there, TikTok, Facebook, all of that stuff. And if you want to send me an email, Martine will share my email in the notes. And love talking all real estate. We do a lot of deals. So if you're looking to work your funds, private money, or anything I can do to help, let me know.
That's amazing. If you guys are looking to get in contact with me, the best way is through my free buy and hold community. It's on Facebook. It's called The Freedom Inc. The link will be in the show notes. We talk all things buy and hold. And then for people that are more serious, that want a one-on-one coach, right now we do have some one-on-one spots available. So just join the group and then reach out to me after you've been in the group for a little bit, because I want to make sure that you're getting the value that you think that you can get from the group before reaching out about the coaching. But yeah, until next time, do it, move it, listeners. See ya!
Thank you for tuning into our show. If you need more handholding on your rental property investor journey, book a 15-minute strategy session with Martine. We can see if you're a fit for the Freedom Inc. fam, link in the show notes. Also be sure to join the free Freedom Inc. Facebook group, where each week Martine goes over a real-life rental property investor deal and shows you how the deal was found, how to get the money, and how to make it cash flow and much more. If you'd like to connect with Lori, be sure to email her at vitalizeproperties@live.com. Until next time, see you.